feet. I want some hog moss. No, I'm kidding. Come on, you know what that means? That means it's Friday, baby. Love that movie. I don't know how many times I've seen that movie. Welcome into the GOAT Fantasy Football Podcast with your host, Jim Neander. Hashtag Fantasy Caveman if you want to use that one, or you can just use our Twitter handles at GOATFF Podcast, at Jim Neander. Welcome in. It's early Friday morning after a little bit of an ugly Thursday night game, which we're going to get into in just a moment. Just to let you know what we got going on today. Today is the back half of our preview show for week 3. We went ahead and previewed the first 8 games yesterday, and we're going to get to the next 8 games today. So it doesn't need a lot of explanation. Within each game, we go through, starts and sits, injury projections, just basic thoughts on every fantasy asset throughout that game, mixing some, some injury updates, and we'll go from there. Not too much news between yesterday and today on a lot of these injuries, but at the very end of the show, we'll very quickly kind of run through it again. So, before we do jump into our preview, let's talk about last night's game here. Very, very disappointing for a lot of fantasy owners who played Jacksonville Jaguars. I didn't have too many shares of them, but I did in my heart, because I told you that Gardner Minshew was near the top of the streaming list, and I think every single show and podcast and TV personality had Minshew has a pretty big play this week, but nobody was talking about Fitzpatrick, and he was the one that you should have played. Very, very workmanlike day through the air. 18 of 20 for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns, but added 38 yards on the ground and another touchdown. So 3 touchdowns. He had a really nice day. Unfortunately, I'm sure he was extremely, his play percentage must have been really low for leagues. So see if I can find that stuff here soon. But on to the rushing game. Everybody was playing Myles Gaskin. It looked like, that was the evidence through the first couple of weeks. You couldn't play Breida, you couldn't play Howard. And Howard fell into the end zone again. 3 carries for 1 yard. It's becoming his thing. And Breida got a little bit of work, but not enough. Now, Gaskin got 22 carries, 66 yards, but also caught 5 balls for 29 yards. So he was very bad with his touches, but he got plenty of them. And, those 7.9 points, through the air really helped your game. This guy scored 14 points, it looks like, right? Not a bad game. If you started Myles Gaskin, you're pretty happy about it. You didn't have a big game, but you got enough points. You were okay. And 22 carries. He's obviously the guy to start in Miami if you're starting someone in Miami. We'll put it that way. So Devontae Parker fought through that hamstring strain, caught all 5 of his targets for 69 yards, even though he was visibly limited. They mentioned it many times throughout the telecast yesterday. You could definitely tell that he was a little bit limited there with his hamstring. Hopefully he can get it back, because even limited, he was really good and was able to create a little separation and make some plays. So outside of that, there weren't many targets to go around. As I said, only threw the ball 20 times. You had 5 targets to Gaskin, and you had 5 targets to Devontae Parker. So for all of you math whizzes out there, that leaves 10 targets, for everybody else. So that was 1 for Grant, 3 for Gesicki, 2 for Ford, 2 for Preston Williams. So, Mike Gesicki got in the end zone. If you played him, you were very unhappy with the 3 targets. He caught 1 ball for a 15-yard touchdown. So thankfully, you got points and you didn't have a wasted week. You were under projection for sure, but it wasn't horrible. It could have been worse, but that was not as involved as you'd like to see him there. Gesicki owners are not worried, but just not happy with the game. Preston Williams, if you took a swing and played him because you thought Parker wasn't going to play, he got to the end zone. He only had 2 targets, caught them both 7 yards, but had a touchdown. Hey, again, not what you wanted, but that touchdown saved your day. Now, over in Jacksonville, Gardner Minshew, he hung a lot of people out to dry this week. He had 275 yards, no touchdowns, had an interception, lost a fumble, which took away the 22 yards rushing that he had, basically made that, a non-starter. So, it was a bad game for Minshew. He didn't look good out the gate. I don't know if he always plays that fast. I don't watch that much Jacksonville. I don't know. It looked like he was rushing. It looked like he wasn't in rhythm. It looked weird to me. I don't know. Maybe missing DJ Chark was the big thing, and even though he hasn't been targeted a lot, maybe his presence on the field opens it up that much for everybody else. I'm not sure, but he looked awful, and he definitely kind of screwed your team if you started him. Now James Robinson did the exact opposite, had a monster day. Didn't get the ball that many times, unfortunately. Ran the ball 11 times, 46 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, so fantastic. But then he caught all 6 of his targets for 83 yards, and that's where he blew up. Guy had a 30-point game, and you were thrilled. And honestly, could have been better. Because I'll still never understand this. I don't want to go too long on this because this is how the shows get too long. But I don't understand taking out a playmaker for a supposed passing down specialist unless they're really that good. So you saw like the whole fourth quarter, you had Chris Thompson in there, and he's catching all these little dump balls, right? Chris Thompson gets 6 targets, most of them near the end of the game. Now he catches 5 balls for 7 yards an average, right? James Robinson, 6 catches, went for 83 yards, 13.8. Why wouldn't you want the guy that makes almost 14 yards a catch on the field as opposed to the guy that's getting 7 yards a catch? I just don't get it. Somebody tweet me or email me, let me know what is the logic behind this. I don't get it. But James Robinson blew up. You were thrilled. You got all you needed and more. And hopefully when anybody else comes back off the list there, you're not getting hit off by it, Divino, Zigbo, or anybody else. Hopefully this is James Robinson's backfield now. On the outside, whoever you started, you got hurt there because, if you started Keelan Cole, he caught 4 or 5 targets for 43 yards. Quiet day, a little over 8 points in PPR. Didn't, again, crush your team, but definitely wasn't an asset. And you're down points, on your projection going in. If you played Laviska Shenault, he was more popular than, Keelan Cole seemed to be for some reason. He only got 1 carry for 1 yard. That's part of his package, right? Maybe you get some of those carries. And then he caught 5 of 6 targets for 33 yards. So, again, another 8.4 points here. And, definitely didn't help your team out. Overall, other than James Robinson, your Jacksonville Jaguars definitely disappointed you. That's just the way it is. The Jaguars disappointed. But, it doesn't mean Minshew's bad for the rest of the year. Doesn't mean he's not streamable. Just means let's wait and see. Maybe you don't play him next week. Maybe you got to wait and see if Chark comes back. That's a bigger deal. So, there's some stuff to look at there, but I'm all right with it. Let's hope Chark gets back next week, and we'll go from there. All right, let's go to our first game of the day. We're going to pick back up in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers take on the Texans. And the Texans, holy crap, man. The Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Steelers. Who wants to start their season off like that? I mean, I haven't even looked. They play the Patriots next week. That would be the AFC, murderer's row right there. I mean, you're already in it, so that's brutal, man. They're 0-2, and if they go down in Pittsburgh to 0-3, their season could be over already. And that very well could happen. So, in this game, I'm not sure, who to play. Will Fuller, we don't really know what's going on with him. We don't know so much. He's not on the injury report, so we don't know if he actually has an injury. I don't know. Brandon Cooks is a little bit banged up here, so you don't know who to play. You're kind of looking, you don't know who to play. All right. Right now, and I know this is getting boring because, I said the same thing against Pittsburgh last week, and then Melvin Gordon had a decent game, and that's fine. But I'm probably not playing anybody here. Deshaun Watson is a tough one because it's like, how do you not play Deshaun Watson? You drafted him where you drafted him, and you're going to play him. And that's fine. But if you were to ask me, would I rather play Ryan Tannehill over Deshaun Watson this week? The answer is yes. I absolutely would rather play Ryan Tannehill. I'd rather play Ben Roethlisberger in this same matchup against the Texans and Deshaun Watson. So I'm a little bit worried about that. David Johnson, I'm worried about also. He looked really bad last week, and Pittsburgh, while they gave up some points to Melvin Gordon, remember, he caught that one stunningly beautiful pass in the end zone from Driscoll. And without that, it wouldn't have been like that kind of a big game. It would have just been an okay game. I know it's like, oh, well, if you take away the one good thing he did, then it wouldn't have been good. I know how that sounds. I'm just saying it wasn't like some great game. And at this point, I don't know who I can play on the outside because we don't know about Will Fuller. You got a goose egg last week if you played him. Are you willing to risk that? Brandon Cooks, quadricep injury. Let's see if he practices fully. I'm looking at ESPN. I don't know if they messed up. It says Cooks was a Sarah Barshop of ESPN.com in Thursday's practice. I'm assuming he wasn't impersonating Sarah Barshop. So I don't know if that's a limited participant. That's probably what it says, but I don't know. If he was a full participant, he probably wouldn't be on the injury report, right? So I don't know. But I don't want to play any of them. Kenny Stills, Randall Cobb had a better week last week. Jordan Akins looks okay, but I can wait on all of those for a week. I just don't want to play them this week if I don't have to. Just the truth. I mean, someone's going to score some points somewhere. Obviously, it's going to happen. I just don't want any part of it. So that's where I'm going with it. On the other side of the ball, I'm playing most of my Steelers. Big Ben, I think, is a good start this week, as I mentioned. I think James Conner is absolutely a good start. He looked healthy last week. At this point, you're starting him unless you don't think he's playing because he scores and he gets the work when he's in the game. And he gives you points. That's it. So I think you're playing him this week. You're not stressing out about the injury until it happens. And then you're going from there. But you drafted James Conner, so you knew you were going for the injury ride, and now you're in it. So there you go. Benny Snell is a no-go until further notice unless something happens to Mr. Conner. And on the outside, we still don't know what's going to happen with Juju Smith-Schuster. A little bit banged up here, he's been missing practice. But, so that's 2 days in a row he sat out practice with a knee. That makes me a little worried. Sitting out Wednesday is no problem. Sitting out Thursday is a little bit worrisome. Either way, you're playing Deontay Johnson on the outside. That's whether or not Juju plays, you're playing Deontay Johnson. The question is, if Juju's out, do you play somebody else, and who would you play? And I don't really know. I don't know that I would feel confident playing either James Washington or Chase Claypool just because we don't know who's going to get the work, in this situation. Someone's going to get passes. One of those guys is probably going to have a really good game. If you made me pick, I'm going to say Chase Claypool. I'm going to say the talent wins out and the playmaking ability wins out, and he'd be the one to have a big game, but not willing to bet on it right now. Still not playing Ebron, waiting that out. So let's hope Juju's ready to go. If Juju does a full practice on Friday, then you're playing him this weekend. If Juju's limited, you got to start looking at your options. I hate to say it, but you might not be able to play him. I got a lot of shares of Juju this year. Believe me, I want him in the lineup, but you may have to wait. All right. Let's jump forward here. Another pretty quick one because the New York Jets are visiting the Indianapolis Colts. And I'm not playing any Jets. Again, we know there's going to be some points, right? We know that. Some points are coming from somewhere. There's going to be some rushes. There are going to be pass attempts. There are going to be pass completions and quite possibly a touchdown. And maybe 2 for the Jets. This could happen. But how do you predict this, right? You're not playing Darnold. Are you playing Frank Gore? I'm not playing Frank Gore. I don't get 20 carries. I give a shit. 60 yards on it. Not helping me against a team like the Colts on the road. I'm not feeling it. Michael Perrine. If Perrine was fully healthy, and I thought he was getting all the work, I think he's a sleeper. But he can't get fully healthy. And then on the outside, everyone's hurt. Everyone's hurt. You don't know who's going to be focused on. You don't know who's going to be pulled up from the practice squad. I guess Braxton Berrios would be the best, dart throw on that team. Maybe Chris Hogan. I mean, I'm not sure what they were saying about him most recently here. He's still questionable. They don't expect to have Brashad Perryman. They don't expect to have Jamison Crowder. So, I mean, who else is going to be out there? Braxton Berrios, Chris Herndon. If you want to take a swing, feel free, man. I'm not gonna tell you to do that. And then for Indy, I think you play your Colts. I understand Philip Rivers is disappointed. I think if you need a streamer, you can start him one more time and see what happens. It's the Jets, and if you can't get it going against the Jets, I know their run defense is pretty good, but their pass defense is rather atrocious. Maybe give Rivers a shot if you're a truther. I'm not playing him. I think there's better choices, but you could do worse. You're playing Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines. That's a tough one. I think you got to let him sit on your bench, but you don't drop him yet. And it's just crazy to see how uninvolved he was in week 2 compared to week 1. I don't know what to tell you, but I wouldn't be playing Nyheim Hines this week. And then on the outside, T.Y. Hilton, can he get going this week against a bad Jets team? I don't know. They lost Paris Campbell. Would I be willing to play Michael Pittman? And I think Michael Pittman is the sneaky play here. I think he might wind up with 8 or more targets. You know, and I could whiff on this one, right? It could be Zach Pascal that comes out of nowhere. So this is a risk it, a risk and reward type of move. No risk it, no biscuit with this one. But I think that I might throw Michael Pittman in a DFS lineup or two and see what happens there. And Mo Alley Cox, huge week last week. There's no reason not to play him. If you're not happy with your current tight end situation, then go ahead and throw him out there. Looks like Jack Doyle's going to miss another game. I mean, he had a limited practice on Thursday. That doesn't make me feel good. If he's full today, all right, then back off Mo Alley Cox. And no, I'm not playing Jack Doyle. I need to see their connection. I haven't seen them have a connection yet. Only Mo Alley Cox. So, there it is. That's a tough game. I don't want to play too many people in that game, but make sure you have Jonathan Taylor out there. Give T.Y. Hilton another shot as your number 3 wide receiver, maybe, or your flex. And I think you play Michael Pittman. I think that's going to be sneaky. And we'll see how Pittman shows up as a rookie here. I think with Campbell out, this is his chance, and I think he might capitalize on it. So, we'll see. We'll see. All right. Let's keep it rolling. Carolina Panthers travel to the West Coast to take on the Los Angeles Chargers at beautiful SoFi Stadium. Does look nice. Big story here is that Justin Herbert will be the starting quarterback this week after the team doctor punctured Tyrod Taylor's lung. And it's like, I know they came out and supported the doctor, and I feel bad for him. I don't feel bad for him. He's a fucking doctor. He's probably doing fine. But the question is he going to get fired? He's got to get fired, right? You punctured the guy's lung. I'm not saying you go to jail or anything, but you get fired. They came out and supported him. No way next week it's not like under the table. You're out of here, dude. Get out of here. No way he's touching anybody else on that team, right? Either way, crazy story. Tyrod Taylor, very, very unfortunate, man. And I think you just lost your job due to a doctor mess up, because I think Herbert's going to come out, have a big game this week against Carolina. And we don't know if Tyrod Taylor necessarily might be out another week, no matter what anyway. And I think, how do you go back from that? So I understand. How do you take away a guy's job? Not because of performance, right? But so then you say the same thing about Herbert, and we know he's the quarterback of the future, so I don't know. But I digress. Who do you want to play in this game? Teddy Bridgewater, I don't really want to play him against this Chargers secondary. There's better streaming options, so hold off on Teddy B, even though he's looked good so far. Mike Davis, yes, you go ahead and play Mike Davis right now. They haven't really made any other moves. They feel confident against playing Mike Davis until Christian McCaffrey comes back. I would have thought for sure Reggie Bonnafon was coming back onto the squad before Sunday. He knows the system. He was there for years as McCaffrey's backup / understudy. And, if Bonnafon does come up, I think it's interesting just because how well he knows the offense. But, I guess the new coaching staff, so maybe it doesn't matter. They already got rid of him, so maybe not. But Mike Davis, definitely start him, get him out there. Start DJ Moore. I know I'm saying Teddy Bridgewater's not a great pick, but DJ Moore, I think is the right play out here as the possession receiver with, just the most talented receiver out there. And Robbie Anderson, you can play. He's a toss-up for me. Robbie Anderson is a coin flip on if you want to play him or not. I can easily play him. I can easily not play him. There's literally easy argument to be made both ways. If you made me pick, I'd probably hold off on Robbie Anderson this week. So, yep. And we know tight end Ian Thomas is not a factor so far, so holding off there. Now, the question is Justin Herbert. Yeah, all of a sudden, he's like right at the top of the list for guys to stream this week and guys to throw on your bench if you're looking for a little quarterback stability or just another option because you are a late quarterback guy and you have a Carson Wentz or you have a Tannehill that you're not sure about or an Aaron Rodgers, that you're not sure if you fully believe. So Herbert's a guy to get on your bench for the season and a guy to get in your lineup this week. Looked great last week against the Chiefs. And I think he's going to look great this week against the Panthers. So I want to play a lot of my Chargers. You're playing Eckler. And yeah, you're playing Joshua Kelly now. Just beware a little bit of Joshua Kelly. He got 23 carries last week, I know. Didn't look great with them. And I'm just don't expect too much this week out of Joshua Kelly. It's not that he might not have a really good week, because he very well might have a very good week. But it could be the week they say, hey, Austin Eckler, go earn that giant bag of money that we just gave you and go out and have a smash game. And it could be that way for Eckler this week. So I think you can start Joshua Kelly as an RB3 flex type expectation guy. And maybe he does better, but he could bust for sure. So that's just how it is, man. I think Joshua Kelly is probably my biggest bust candidate on the week. Although he absolutely can boom. So that's just truth right there. Spitting truth, baby. And then, yeah, if Herbert's the quarterback, I want to get Keenan Allen out there, and I want to get Hunter Henry out there. I'm holding off on Mike Williams until I see them have a little better connection. But absolutely, I want Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry in my lineup in this game. I think the Chargers are going to look good with Herbert behind them. I wasn't overly high on him. I was kind of neutral going into the season. But after watching that first game, man, I'm on the Herbert wagon, as it were. All right. Let's keep busting through them here. All right, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to visit the Denver Broncos. The Broncos just keep getting hurt. Losing players here. They're struggling. Tampa Bay hoping to get healthy here for the first time now. Looks like Chris Godwin is all good to go. Mike Evans looked great last week, so I think, their weapons are healthy. Tom Brady, does that mean that he's a start in Denver? That's tough. I think he's a start. I think he's good for 250 and 2. It's all about expectation. I don't think he's going to be a top 5 QB, but I do think he'll be a QB1 right in that area. And I guess if you're asking me, I just said I think Herbert is the top streamer. I probably would play Justin Herbert over Tom Brady this week. So on the record, there it is for the, millions in attendance and watching. I will go ahead and take Justin Herbert over Tom Brady. But Tom Brady's going to have a decent week. Leonard Fournette, I guess, is the guy. I don't want to start him if I have better options on using him because of the risk factor. And I tend to be a little bit lower risk with my teams. But sometimes you got to go for it. And depending on where you're at, if you're 0-2 and you're running back deficient, then yeah, Leonard Fournette is a high ceiling guy. Arians, pulled Ronald Jones after that bad fumble, and he never saw the field again, and that was it. So I think you can play Fournette, although I wouldn't be thrilled to do it. And yeah, go ahead and get both the receivers in your lineup this week, Evans and Godwin. Let's see how it looks with both of them at full speed and what's happening. Looks like Scotty Miller is going to be out. Not a big thing, but it's just one less mouth to feed, to somebody that could take some targets. So actually, both the other guys, Justin Watson and Scotty Miller, both limited right now, both questionable. We'll see. I think it gives Brady a chance to focus on his two main guys and really get them going, get them working here. So play all those guys. I think sit on tight ends. I've already told you every week not to play Gronk. And O.J. Howard, after a good week 1, very bad week 2. So let's sit on O.J. Howard and other tight ends that are coming up, in the league and especially in this game. You can play Noah Fant, although he's not out there anymore, unfortunately. Hopefully you stashed him on your bench, even if you didn't draft him as your number 1 late in the draft. And so we're going to have the Jeff Driscoll-led Denver Broncos. And Driscoll looked pretty darn good slinging the ball around when he got into the game. I don't think right now that your other weapons are a big downgrade at the moment. So however you were looking at Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Noah Fant without or with Drew Lock, I think you look at them the same way with Jeff Driscoll, honestly. So as far as this game goes, we know that Cortland Sutton's out for the year. We know Philip Lindsay is still out. So even though Tampa Bay has a tough front, I would be playing Melvin Gordon. I would be playing Jerry Jeudy. And I would be playing Noah Fant. I want all those guys in my lineup. And then my sleeper for this game is KJ Hamler. I think KJ Hamler could be a very valuable fantasy asset going down the rest of the season here. And knowing that Sutton is out for the entire rest of the season. I know people are saying Tim Patrick will be splitting, time with Hamler, and that may or may not be so. But I think Hamler will be targeted when he's on the field because of his ability to get open and his ability to make plays after the catch. And it might not be this week, but believe me, I think sometime soon KJ Hamler is going to be a guy that you're struggling to keep out of your lineup. And you're thinking to yourself, who do I bench to get KJ Hamler in the game? And that's going to be a tough decision. But for now, for this week, I think you should be playing Melvin Gordon. I think you should play Jerry Jeudy now that he's the number one, for sure. And I think you want to play Noah Fant. He's just making plays. So, and then let's go from there with KJ Hamler. We'll see what happens. All right. Out to Arizona, baby. I need this one, man. Got the Detroit Lions visiting the Arizona Cardinals. Got the worst run defense in the league going up against Arizona, and Arizona needs to get Kenyon Drake going. For everyone's sake, for my sake, for sure, and for Kenyon Drake's sake, and for Arizona's sake, for everyone's sake, let's get it going this week. Let's do it, man. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions, though. Who you want to play here? I think you can play Matthew Stafford. I don't see any reason not to. He's getting Kenny Golladay back for sure, and that's going to be a big help. The running backs, while it's a mess for fantasy, are, they're starting to find a little bit of something going here with DeAndre Swift catching passes, AP getting some rushing work, Kerryon Johnson getting some early rushing work. Just starting to figure out a little bit of a system here. And I like the Cardinals definitely in this game. I'm just saying, I think that Detroit might put up some more points than people expect. Over under a 55.5, people. And Arizona giving 5.5, right? So, that's an implied total of, about 25 points for the Lions. That's not bad. There's some points there. So, I'm still not playing any of the running backs. I had a big one, it's DeAndre Swift, but not playing any of them this week. And then, let's get Golladay out there. Let's see what's going to happen this first week with him on the field. Look for Stafford to get him involved. Take a couple of swings down the field at him. And, get Golladay out there. And get T.J. Hawkinson in your lineup as well. We know Arizona, not bad last week, but historically bad against tight ends. And I don't see really much has changed. They just haven't had a team that's gone ham on them with their tight end yet. But it's going to happen. This could be the game. Even if it's not that many targets, it could just be a 6 for 75 and a touchdown kind of a game for the Hawk. So, I don't know, man. That's what I want to do. I want to play Stafford. I want to play Golladay. I want to play Hawkinson. I'm going to sit on Marvin Jones, although we know it can happen any week with Marvin Jones. But I want to sit on it, and I'm still waiting to see. We need DeAndre Swift to come out with 12 carries and 5 targets. Right? That's when you can start thinking about playing DeAndre Swift. Until he's getting the 10, 12, or more carries, and just can't really do it. You just can't do it. Arizona. You're playing Kyler. He looks great. You're getting the passing. You're getting the rushing baseline. You're thrilled with Kyler Murray through a couple of games. And, like I said, you got to play Kenyon Drake. You probably weren't really thinking about sitting him unless you got a really, really deep bench. But this is the game that he's got to go off and really get going. So he's getting the work. He's touching the ball enough. Let's hope this is the game where it cracks. I'm hoping Kenyon Drake, big game. I'm calling him as a top 5 running back on the week. And that's my play of the week. So get Kenyon Drake out in your lineups, man. This is the week. You're playing DeAndre Hopkins, obviously. You're throwing Hopkins out there. He's a target monster. 22 catches through 2 weeks. And then you got to sit on everybody else. You can't play Fitzgerald. You can't play Kirk. These guys are just a dart throw. You don't know if either one's going to get enough targets on any given week to be viable. And I do think they're going to have a good week this week. So someone else is going to score. And if you're asking me, I'd say play Christian Kirk. That would be my gut. But I don't want to recommend that to you at all. So don't think about playing Christian Kirk. Just leave him out. Dan Arnold, tight end, out. Nothing's happened yet with that. So nothing going on here. Nothing to see here, folks. All right. So we got 3 great games kind of like finishing off the week here. Dallas Cowboys at Seattle Seahawks is another 4:25 game. And you'll really have a chance to, kind of focus on that game. There's 5 late games on Sunday, thankfully. So there's not 10 early games. But still plenty going on there. So, make sure you're keeping an eye on these late games. Don't get a little too rowdy for the early games because some real barn burners coming on late here. Now, Dallas at Seattle. The expectation is points, right? 56.5 points is the over-under. And at this point, I think that's the highest in the league. There's a bunch of these mid-50s, though. 56.5 is the highest, and the last game was 55.5. Then we have a 54.5 on Monday, and a 52.5 on Sunday night, baby. So look at all these points. Look at all these points we're expecting late. That's what I like to see. Keep me going on my Sunday. Let's talk about Dallas here. All right. This is an easy game because you're playing all the starters, right? You're playing Dak, you're playing Zeke, you're playing Amari Cooper. You should be playing Michael Gallup. I know, I'm not going to harp on it because I know he's my guy. I know he's getting killed right now, but I don't know how you don't play him in this matchup. Same with CeeDee Lamb. The work has been there. We know there's enough work for three. We had 80-something Randall Cobb targets last year, so we know there's enough to go around. And CeeDee Lamb looks awesome doing it. So play CeeDee Lamb, and then Dalton Schultz is the question mark. Just because even though he looked great last week, we know Seattle's a little bit different monster than Atlanta is, and we know that Jamal Adams is out there prowling around, and he's going to make life tough on Dalton Schultz most likely. So I'm on the fence there. That's a coin toss for me. I'd rather not play Dalton Schultz this week, but hey, it's hard to deny what he did last week and hard to keep him out of your lineup. All depends on your options there. You're probably playing him more than likely. Would I play him over like the Buccaneers tight ends? Absolutely. Yeah. Would I play him over TJ Hawkinson? Nope. I'd rather play Hawkinson. So, yep. Seattle, you're playing your guys. You're playing Russ and you're playing Chris Carson. You're playing DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and you're not even thinking about any of those things. All four of those guys are locked and loaded on a weekly basis, regardless of matchup. Don't even worry about it now. I'm not ready to go past that yet. I'm not ready to play Greg Olsen. I'm definitely not ready to play Will Dissly, and I don't want to play David Moore or Freddie Swain or any of these other guys, right? But the top four, locked and loaded, studs, ready to rock, ready to kill it, ready to help you win. I think they're all going to have big weeks this week. This Cowboys-Seahawks game, look at this. I mean, yeah, right? So these two teams both played Atlanta in week 1, the Seahawks, week 2, the Cowboys. Both put up a ton of points. And both had Atlanta put up a ton of points on them. And now they play each other, kind of like this weird full circle in only 3 weeks. Only 3 weeks, but a weird little tight package here. So really looking forward to that game, man. Dallas and Seattle. At the same time, you got Tampa and Denver. Not quite as good, but I'm looking forward to that game also. And some fun 4 o'clock games. A little more action. I'm looking forward to it. All good. All right. Let's go to our night games here because we have 2 freaking awesome night games. The Green Bay Packers traveling to New Orleans to take on the Saints in a game with a 52.5 point over-under. New Orleans given 3 points. I don't know. It's hard for me to say that the Saints are, the true favorite here. I know they're at home, but I'm not expecting Michael Thomas to be back this week. And without Michael Thomas, I'm just not ready to say this team's going to win. I'm not ready to say they're going to beat them. So, held out of practice again on Thursday. I'm thinking Michael Thomas misses another week. That's just what it is. So, and Devontae Adams. We don't know. Devontae Adams, now I guess that's the equalizer maybe, right? Is that both teams might be missing their top receiver, and that's kind of the, that's the tiebreaker, right? I mean, that's the deal breaker. I'm losing my thoughts here, man. I literally spaced out. I don't want to tell you what I was just thinking about, but there were other visions dancing in my head for a couple of moments there. So I apologize, but so we have Devontae Adams possibly out. We don't know yet. He didn't practice on Thursday. If he gets in a limited or full practice on Friday, obviously we'll feel better about it. But for now, we'll see. So what does that mean for all the rest of these guys? Now, Aaron Rodgers. All right, it's a tough matchup on the road against a tough team. I get it. With a good secondary, you might not have your number 1 wide receiver. So, question is, are you playing Aaron Rodgers? And I'm playing Aaron Rodgers this week because I'm worried about some of the other options. If I have Rodgers, I just the upside is there. Even without Devontae Adams, 3 touchdowns is absolutely on the table for him when you consider that Aaron Jones could catch 1 or 2 any given week, could catch a couple. So, 2 or 3 touchdowns is certainly in Aaron Rodgers' realm of possibility. And I have 1 league right now where I'm really sweating it. Do I play Aaron Rodgers or Ryan Tannehill this week? And I really, really don't know. I still don't know. As of Friday morning, I have time to think about it. Hopefully, Devontae Adams wakes up today and is like, oh, full practice. I'm ready to rock. Let's do this. Yeah, and I'll feel better about it. But I'm not expecting that to happen. I feel like Devontae Adams will probably miss this game, unfortunately. Now, talk about everybody else. Aaron Jones, locked and loaded. No reason to think about that. You're playing Aaron Jones. He's killing it. Get him in your lineup. No problem. Who else do I want to play? Well, if Devontae Adams is out, I want to play both receivers. That's Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Alan Lazard. I want to get them both in the lineup. In the absence of Devontae Adams, there should be enough targets for each of them. And Aaron Rodgers' targets can be very, very valuable. We know that. They're going to have to take some shots, to try to win this game. And, I expect them to do that. So, yeah. Now, if Devontae Adams is playing, then yes, that changes it. I would rather just play Marquez Valdez-Scantling and hold off on Alan Lazard. That would be my gut, would be to play MVS and to sit Lazard if Devontae Adams is going to give it a go. So, there you go. Now, on the New Orleans side of the ball here, I do not want to play Drew Brees. He's at home. I've been saying it since before Michael Thomas got hurt in the preseason. If you watch my shows, you saw, I think I had Drew Brees as the 18th ranked quarterback on the year, and that was before they lost Michael Thomas. So I'm out on Drew Brees because of efficiency, because of offensive style, and because of Alvin Kamara. So that's just it. Now, in the running back, in the backfield, the running backs you're going to play is Alvin Kamara. You know that. And I'm not playing Latavius Murray. We saw what a down week could be for Latavius Murray when they need to lean on Alvin Kamara, which they did in the passing game, not so much on the ground. But you just didn't have the work for Murray, and that's the problem. For people that say you can play Murray any week and get that, at least some production, I don't agree with that. I think that it's touch and go on weeks where Alvin Kamara is fully healthy. And of course, if Kamara's out, then, great pick. But that's not the case here. Kamara looked amazing last week, and I think they're going to keep him on the field more often than not, and I do not want to play Latavius Murray. Now, on the outside, Emmanuel Sanders, I was sure that he was going to get a target share last week without Michael Thomas in the game, and he just didn't. It was a Traquan Smith show. So this week, I'm going to just ride that trend and say, yeah, play Traquan Smith as a flex, wide receiver 3. I don't think he's a must play or a must start, but you absolutely can. And Jared Cook should be in your lineup. He's a tight end. I think that with Michael Thomas out is just, getting the work. I know it wasn't a great week last week, but I think you stick with Jared Cook. I think he gets into the end zone this week, and I think that saves his week. If he's not getting a lot of targets, I think he's still going to get into the end zone. So I'm going to be okay with it. Emmanuel Sanders, I'm not gonna roll the dice this week. I'm gonna let him sit and just wait till I see him get some targets before I feel good about committing to playing him. I just can't do it. Just can't do it. But that should be for a fun Sunday night game. And then Monday night, Kansas City Chiefs at the Baltimore Ravens. Baby, doesn't get any better than this, man. It does not get any better than this. Top 2 teams in the AFC, possibly in the NFL. Top 2 quarterbacks in the AFC, possibly in the NFL. So, what do we got going on here? I don't want to spend too much time dissecting this game because who aren't you going to play? So let's go through it real quick. You're playing Mahomes. You're playing Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You're not that worried about that week last week. He still got most of the work. And he's still in one of the best, if not the best, offenses in the league. You can't have a great week every week. And it is what it is. So you're playing Edwards-Helaire this week. You're playing Tyreek Hill. You're playing Travis Kelce. I mean, we know all that stuff. Now, bigger question is there anybody else that you want to play? Now, Sammy Watkins was still, last I checked, had not cleared any kind of concussion protocol. Still in concussion protocol. And at this point, it's Friday. I'm going to go ahead and say Sammy Watkins will be out for the game. And if Sammy Watkins is out, the question is, do you want to play Demarcus Robinson or do you want to play Mecole Hardman? And while I wouldn't want or aim to play either of those guys, I'd rather have Mecole Hardman in the game because of his big playability. I don't know why they're not doing this anyway. I mean, I know it's a different, wide receiver style, shape, size, skill level, talent, pool, but Mecole Hardman has the same skill set as Tyreek Hill in theory. And Tyreek Hill is so good. Why wouldn't you want 2 of them on the field at the same time now? Maybe Hardman's not really impressing that much in practice. I can't really say for sure, but I don't know. I would want him on the field with Tyreek Hill as much as I could. Just wreaking havoc. How do you keep up with that speed? Then you have Kelce, underneath in the middle. I don't know, man. It just sounds wicked to me. So if Watkins is for sure out, I think you can play Mecole Hardman. I'm I'm not recommending that you play Nicole Hardman, but that's the lottery ticket I would want in this game. And that's who I would play if I needed a big swing. That's where I'd be going. And for Baltimore, this is a little bit tougher because you're playing Lamar, and like I said last week, I said stay away from the backfield because it's too split. I agree with the same thing this week. I don't want to start anybody because I could see everybody getting 8 carries. Gus Edwards, Mark Ingram, and J.K. Dobbins. I can see each of them getting 8 carries, and 2 targets exactly each, and not helping anybody for fantasy, but helping out the Baltimore Ravens to stay in this game. I think you got to start Marquise Hollywood Brown. I can't imagine this game there won't be a decent amount of point scores. A 54.5 over/under with Baltimore giving 3.5 points. KC probably hasn't been an underdog much in the last couple of years, and I just think they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit more than usual. So I want to get in on the Baltimore pass catching option. So I do want to play Hollywood Brown. I do want to play Mark Andrews after a bad week. And then I got to think, I think maybe not for redraft, right? Because for 1 week, it's a little hard to play Miles Boykin, or Willie Snead. I totally get that, although I think you could play one of them. But in DFS, one of these 2 guys might be a guy that you think about sneaking in there on the low. And it could be Miles Boykin, but it definitely could be Willie Snead. Willie Snead has a knack for getting those red zone targets, and those are, those are the points, baby. Those red zone targets, those are the points. So, that's it, man. That's our Sunday. We got some awesome games this Sunday. I am stoked, man. I mean, last night gave me a little bit of juice just because I had James Robinson playing in one of my big leagues. Went ahead and started him. And it turns out I might have started him over Marquise Hollywood Brown in that flex spot. That's how it might have went down. We'll see who I decide to play. But, 30 points, I was thrilled. Wasn't the greatest game, but, man, I was jacked on those points. I needed them. I was glad to play James Robinson. Got everything I needed. I hope you did, too. And I hope you have a great weekend watching the games. I hope it's an awesome weekend for you. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you're safe. I hope you're happy. I hope you're keeping calm. Hope you're in good mental health. Hope you're in good physical health. All that stuff, man. Hope everyone's doing good. Freaking mid-September. Weather's starting to get cooler. All my favorite things. I know there's a lot of summer people out there. I'm just, not that I don't like summer. I like get out and being able to golf and fish more and all that stuff. The weather, it's nice. I can deal with the heat even though it bothers me here. I'm in hot Atlanta, so it's real hot, like real heat, But this is my time of year, man. You get those 70-degree days, nice and sunny. A little bit crisp in the morning, a little bit crisp at night. We got football. Man, I don't know. I love it. I love it. I'm jacked. I'm ready to go. So, all right, everybody, that's going to do it for us today. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday for the first part of our review show from week 3. Go out there, play the guys I told you to play, kick some ass, get those W's. I'll see you next week. Take it easy.